everyone, it's Emma, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I always write down book quotes in my journal as I'm reading, and I really love hearing other people's favorite quotes. I decided to make a whole video of some of my favorite quotes from books that I've read. If people enjoy this, I will continue to make these videos. I thought maybe I would even do it like monthly. My favorite quotes from books that I read that month or something like that. So let me know down in the comments if you enjoy this, and I will continue to make more videos like it. There's so many. I could make an entire video just of quotes that I like from the Raven Cycle, or just of quotes that I like from classic books. And sorry if there is noise in the background. I'm hoping it's going to be okay, but it's raining really hard today and it's very windy. But I needed to do this video anyways, so I'm just gonna go with it. Obviously, since this is a video filled with book quotes, it's going to be full of mild spoilers, but none of these quotes are going to spoil like major plot points or anything. It's mostly about the wording. None of it's going to really give away huge things. So I'm going to start with quotes from the books that I just finished. I just reread the Off with the Game series. The first are from The Raven King by Nora Sakavic, which is the second book. Neil wished he had something to give them in return for their easy friendship and trust, but nothing about him was safe enough to share. They never pried, but it took him weeks to realize they didn't have to. They didn't ask for secrets, they settled for the breadcrumb truths of day-to-day life. They knew he hated vegetables but loved fruit, that his favorite color was gray, and that he didn't like movies or loud music. They were things Neil understood only in terms of survival, but his teammates hoarded these insights like gold. They were piecing Neil together and building a real person around all his lives. They found the parts of him no disguise could hide. I tried to limit how many I did from each author, but the last one is from The King's Men, which is the last book in the trilogy. All eyes are on you. It's time to show them what you're made of. There's no room for doubt, no room for second guesses, no room for error. This is your night. This is your game. This is your moment. Seize it with everything you've got. Pull out all the stops and lay it all on the line. Fight because you don't know how to die quietly. Win because you don't know how to lose. The next couple are from another trilogy that I really enjoy. It's the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahereh Mafi. These books, the writing style is so beautiful. Like, I could just read this whole book out loud. I think I only picked two. The first one is from the first book, which is Shatter Me. The sun is an arrogant thing, always leaving the world behind when it tires of us. The moon is a loyal companion. It never leaves, it's always there, watching steadfast, knowing us in our light and dark moments, changing forever just as we do. Every day it's a different version of itself, sometimes weak and wan, sometimes strong and full of light. The moon understands what it means to be human, uncertain, alone, cratered by imperfections. And then the next one is from the last book in the trilogy, which is Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi. Words, I think, are such unpredictable creatures. No gun, no sword, no army or king will ever be more powerful than a sentence. Swords may cut and kill, but words will stab and stay, burying themselves in our bones to become corpses we carry in the future, all the time digging and failing to rip our skeletons from our flesh. The next quote is from The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. The quote that I'm going to read is an excerpt from a poem, a spoken word poem that she wrote, and you can find her, the author, reading this entire poem on YouTube, so I suggest you go watch that because it is really wonderful to watch. So what I'm trying to say is you should text me back, because there's a precedent, because there's an urgency, because there's a bedtime. Because when the world ends, I might not have my phone charged, and if you don't respond, I won't know if you want to leave your shadow next to mine. It's from a poem called Nuclear Spring. Next, I have one from this little essay by George Orwell, which is called Why I Write. I am not able, and I do not want, completely to abandon the worldview that I acquired in childhood. So long as I remain alive and well, I shall continue to feel strongly about prose style, to love the surface of the earth, and to take pleasure in solid objects and scraps of useless information. It is no use trying to suppress that side of myself. The next quote is kind of a very famous passage. It's from A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. No, Miss Manette, all through it I have known myself to be quite undeserving, and yet I have had the weakness, and have still the weakness, to wish you to know, with what a sudden mastery you have kindled me, heap of ashes that I am, into fire, a fire however inseparable in its nature from myself, quickening nothing, lighting nothing, doing no service, idly burning away. The next one is another book that is very quotable. It has so many beautiful passages. It's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Is magic not enough to live for? Widget asks. Magic, the man in the gray suit repeats, turning the word into a laugh. This is not magic. This is the way the world is. Only very few people take the time to stop and note it. Look around you, he says, waving a hand at the surrounding tables. Not a one of them even has an inkling of the things that are possible in this world. And what's worse is that none of them would listen if you attempted to enlighten them. They want to believe that magic is nothing but clever deception, because to think it real would keep them up at night afraid of their own existence. The next quote is from Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. When I was a kid, Grandpa Portman's fantastic stories meant it was possible to live a magical life. Even after I stopped believing them, there was still something magical about my grandfather. To have endured all the horrors he did, to have seen the worst of humanity, and have your life made unrecognizable by it. To come out of all of that, the honorable and good and brave person I knew him to be, that was magical. Then I have 2 quotes from The Secret History by Donna Tartt. First one is very short, and it's right at the beginning of the book, but for some reason it really stuck out to me. I suppose at one time in my life I might have had any number of stories, but now there is no other. This is the only story I will ever be able to tell. The second quote is, "It is easy to see things in retrospect, but I was ignorant then of everything but my own happiness, and I don't know what else to say except that life itself seemed very magical in those days. A web of symbol, coincidence, premonition, omen. Everything somehow fit together, some sly and benevolent providence was revealing itself by degrees, and I felt myself trembling on the brink of a fabulous discovery, as though any morning it was all going to come together, my future, my past, the whole of my life, and I was going to sit up in bed like a thunderbolt and say, oh, oh, oh." The next couple quotes are from one of my favorite books, and it's Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. So many quotes I wish I could have put in here, but I limited myself to 2. "There is a wound in you, and the tables, the dice, the cards, they feel like medicine. They soothe you, put you right for a time, but they're poison, Jesper. Every time you play, you take another sip. You have to find some other way to heal that part of you." She laid her hand on his chest. "Stop treating your pain like it's something you imagined. If you see the wound is real, then you can heal it." And then the next one is, "Inej almost felt sorry for her. Dunyasha really believed that she was the Lansov heir, and maybe she was. But wasn't that what every girl dreamed? That she'd wake and find herself a princess? Or blessed with magical powers and a grand destiny? Maybe there were people who lived those lives. Maybe this girl was one of them. But what about the rest of us? What about the nobodies and the nothings, the invisible girls? We learn to hold our heads as if we wear crowns. We learn to wring magic from the ordinary. That was how you survived when you weren't chosen, when there was no royal blood in your veins. When the world owed you nothing, you demanded something of it anyway." Then I've got 2 quotes from A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. "I'd like my sisters to meet you. Maybe not today, but if you ever feel like it." She cocked her head. I rubbed the back of my bare neck. "I want them to hear your story and know that there is a special strength." As I spoke, I realized I needed to hear it, know it too. "A special strength in enduring such dark trials and hardships, and still remaining warm and kind, still willing to trust and reach out. I wonder if some part of me knew what was waiting for me, that I would never be a gentle grower of things or someone who burned like fire, but that I would be quiet and enduring and as faceted as the night, that I would have beauty for those who knew where to look, and if people didn't bother to look, but only to fear it, then I didn't particularly care for them anyway. I wonder if, even in my despair and hopelessness, I was never truly alone." The next quote is from This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. "And then he looked down at the man's corpse, and a quiet sadness crept through him like a chill. Suddenly, Normal felt so far away. It was a cruel trick of the universe, thought August, that he felt human only after doing something monstrous, which made him wonder if that brief glimpse of humanity was really just an illusion, an echo of the life he'd taken, an imposter sensation. Leo's voice came to him simple and steady. This is what you do, what you are. Isla's rose to meet it. Find the good in it." The next quote is from The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I think I just need to say that Quoth was playing music, and then he finished his song, and this is what it says. "And then it was done. Raising my head to look at the room was like breaking the surface of water for air. I came back into myself, found my hand bleeding and my body covered in sweat. Then the ending of the song struck me like a fist in the chest, as it always does, no matter where or when I listen to it. I buried my face in my hands and wept, not for a broken lute string and the chance of failure, not for the blood shed and a wounded hand. I did not cry for the boy who had learned to play a lute with 6 strings in the forest years ago. I cried for Sir Savian and Eloin, for love lost and lost again, at cruel fate and man's folly, and so for a while I was lost in grief and knew nothing." Then, surprise, surprise, I have some quotes from The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. These two are from Blue Lily Lily Blue. Now he could see that it wasn't charity Gansey was offering, it was just truth, and something else. Friendship of the unshakable kind. Friendship you could swear on, that could be busted nearly to breaking and come back stronger for it. Adam held out his hand and Gansey clasped it in a handshake like they were men, because they were men. He left bloody fingerprints on the rock, but there was something satisfying about it. I was here. I exist. I'm alive because I bleed. The last one is from The Voyage of the Dawn Treader by C.S. Lewis, but I actually have it written down in my journal, not in the book. Lucy buried her head in his mane to hide from his face, but there must have been magic in his mane. She could feel the lion's strength going into her. Quite suddenly, she sat up. I'm sorry, Aslan, she said. I'm ready now. Now you are a lioness, said Aslan. And now all of Narnia will be renewed. I think those are all of the quotes that I wrote down. Again, please let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you like the idea of hearing my favorite quotes. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the subscribe button. I'm Miss Emma Reads a Lot on all of my social media, which I will link in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon with a new video.